Thanks for staying with us. We'll be starting the paper reviews with The Nation. A major headline: NRS raised tax revenue from 711 billion to 3.6 trillion in 2 years. Here they have 2027 ACO local government stakeholders back Yamal 2, Deba constituents endorse Tinubu's second term, Goje continuity in Senate. IMF recapitalization of banks buffer against global shocks. Here we have ADC expels Nafiu, Bala, Abejide, and 5 others. Mark vows no surrender. A federal government plans support for Gili market bombing victims. And El Rufai gets 200 million bail. ADC, PDP, Supreme Court fixes April 22nd for hearing. And Fela Shade Adu honored. What do we have in
I have that. Barely 2 months after Afrobeat progenitor Fela Anikulapo Kuti was honored as the first African musician to get the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, the late singer, composer, and human rights activist, and the father to our very own Yeni Kuti, has been honored again. This time, he and Shade Adu have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The 2 global musicians, as we know, are Nigerian and Nigerian descent, were honored for their influence on the global evolution of music. The induction was announced by Lionel Richie and Ryan Seacrest on an American Idol. So Fela is being honored with the Early Influence Award for laying the foundation of Afrobeat. Shade Adu got inducted for her enduring influence on global evolution of music. This is our year.
It is, honestly.
Recognition. Congratulations again to YK and her family.
Yeah. Well done. Any other stories?
Yes, we have the story from ADC, the new party. They've started having 1 or 2 issues. They said they expelled some of its members. They said that that the interim National Chairman, Senator David Mark, yesterday said the opposition party will not bow to intimidation and pressures from any quarter. They said they were expelled because they caused a little bit of chaos at the event because there was a convention and all of them were in attendance. The people who were in attendance, they said the Vice President Atiku Abubakar was there, the former Kano State Governor, that's Rabi'u Musa Kwankwaso, was there, former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amici, the list goes on. And they said that they caused a bit of unrest and did not allow because of the venue. And I said the Senate President said that there were attempts to prevent us from accessing the venue. Even as we sat here last night, there were efforts to pressure the owner of this venue to cancel our reservation. But they still held their meeting. And those who were expelled were House of Representative member, that's Leke Abejide, a former Deputy National Chairman, Nafiu Bala, Gumbe, and then they said Temitope Oga, chairman of Kogi State chapter. Those ones were the ones that were, as well as members of the interim caretaker committee that recently took over the administration of the party due to the withdrawal of the recognition from the party leaders. So those were the ones that were expelled. So hopefully, let's see how it goes. Okay,
I have one here. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, yesterday applauded the just concluded bank recapitalization in Nigeria. They said the strategic impact of the policy is paying off by providing buffers against global shocks. The applause came from IMF Financial Counselor, that's the Director of Monetary Capital Markets Department, Tobias Andrian, while he was presenting the Global Financial Stability Report at the ongoing World Bank IMF Spring meeting in Washington, D.C. It came 14 days after the Central Bank of Nigeria, that's the CBN, drew the curtain on bank recapitalization. So Andrian said the capital raised by Nigerian banks would be significantly helpful in times of stress, keeping them better capitalized against external shocks. He said, of course, it's time, in the time of stress, the value of the bank capital really comes to the fore. So what they are aiming is for global financial stability across banking sectors, and, they are already achieving that. Any other stories?
Yes, I have the story of the federal government. Yesterday, they were outlining the gains within our revenue generation. Zak Adedeji, who is the executive chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, spoke towards the fact that they've been able to increase internally generated revenue, that's taxes, by 411% over the past few years, from May 2023 to September 2025, there's been a major increase of over 400%, which is good for our economy. They were able to capture 19 million new taxpayers, and they also got about 4,000 companies. Let me get the number for the companies right. It was 814,000 new corporate taxpayers added. So 19 million individual taxpayers, 814,000 new corporate taxpayers. And this, the president said, was a deliberate action, that they are not incidental actions or results, but that they are deliberate actions to ensure that the government has a sustained income through deliberate policy. He did this presentation while they were cutting the ribbon on the new building of the Nigerian Revenue Service that opened in Abuja yesterday. The president was there and many government dignitaries were also there.
Okay. Let's move on now to the Punch. Major headline: Mark, Atiku, Aregbesola tackle Tinubu on hardship and insecurity. Our federal government spends 75 billion on arms amid worsening insecurity. Chibok girls remembered in emotion-laden photo exhibition. Akpabio links terror attacks to plot against Tinubu. Coup probe: detained soldiers' wives demand justice. Here we have Nigeria's debt hits 159.28 trillion on fresh loans. FAC deductions gulp 41% of 84 trillion revenue. Security beefed up at JAMB exam centers. This is according to the police. Suspected cultists beat Lagos monarch's son to death. And Olubadon Ajimobi's widow denied plots to impeach Makinde. What do we have in the Punch?
Okay, so we have a story where they said the Nigerians' debt hits 159.28 trillion. They said the Nigerians' total debt has increased to 159.28 trillion as at 31st December, driven by fresh domestic and external borrowings. They said, the Debt Management Office has shown these figures. They said that the external debt rose from 71.48 trillion in September 2025 to 74.43 in December, and indicating that there was a 4.1% increase. Then, while the domestic debt climbed from 81.82 trillion to 84.85 trillion over the same period, reflecting a rise of 3.3 trillion. That means 3.7%. They said it just shows that the federal government are the dominant borrower, particularly in the domestic market. And these are just statistics. They just want to show us that, you know, the figures, how far we are going and everything. With the debt.
Well, any other stories in the Punch? Can we take? Okay, I have one here. Okay. A teenager identified simply as Quadri has been beaten to death by suspected cultists in the Itumeko area of Ikorodu, Lagos State. They said that the incident happened on Saturday. There was a disagreement between some youths who they believed were suspected cultists in the community. The disease now is the son of Alashe in Itumoja, Ikorodu. Was reportedly called from his residence to the scene to sort of intervene. And according to a resident who spoke on the matter, he said that the situation, when he got there, the situation escalated very quickly, and it resulted in a violent attack on the victim and one of his friends. And that was how it degenerated into, you know, somebody dying. They said he only went there to just intervene. And by the time they started talking about, a lot of people came out to talk about the fact that he was not even a cultist. So it was more like cultist rivalry groups were, you know, fighting, and then he was called in to sort of settle the dispute, and he ended up losing his life. He said they were taking him to the hospital, and he died because of the injuries he sustained during the attack, but he was not a cultist. Just trying to sort out an issue.
Why Nigerians will not look away.
Yeah. Let's take a short break here. When we come back, the paper reviews continue. Stay with us. Come back, we're still reviewing the Punch. Who has the story?
So I have the Nigeria Police Force has deployed a rapid response team across examination centers nationwide ahead of the 2026 JAM that is being conducted. They said the police, first of all, there have been rumors, you know, that there were threats to candidate safety during this period while they'll be writing exams. The police is saying that this is unfounded. This is just rumors. There's nothing that, you know, they can base these rumors on, but that they also hear, you know, that generally, you know, people are worried. Okay, so the rumors were that their candidates will be attacked, especially in the northern area during this period. Police is saying that they're just rumors. There's nothing to
Be worried about?
No, not to be worried about. They're saying that there's nothing, that they're just unfounded rumors. Maybe people just, you know, just speculating. But they're saying that in spite of that, people are still worried because, as we know, the North is not is facing all sorts of things, insecurity. So the police is still going to make sure that the centers are protected. So they'll be deploying police officers, security operatives to the various centers, especially across the North during this period. So at least allay our fears, and hopefully that would also, whatever evil machinations or plans that they have, they would steer clear of where these children are.
So yeah, really, we're hoping that the conversation does not, it's free, it's actually free, and we don't lose children. FAC deduction, I took the story of revenue increasing by over 400% from taxes, but here is another thing regarding our economy, which is the fact that the federal allocation has they've had to spend 41% over the past 3 years paying off deductions. So they said, based on analysis of the World Bank's development update on Nigeria, the fact they got is our total revenue has climbed. It increased between 2023 to 2024, even to 2025. However, deductions from the federation account also increased at that same pace, if not more, and that the combined deduction from the Federation account is 34.53 trillion naira, amounting to 41% of our total revenue over the 3-year period. And this is due to pre-distribution deduction, which means that we have made commitments, maybe debt servicing, loans, we have committed this money. So as I'm making more money, because those expenses are in dollars, so we need to now spend more money to pay them back. So money coming in, money going out. We're not seeing much impact of the increase in revenue on our account. So those Nigerians that are wondering, we're making more money. Here's the reality. We're making money, but we're also deducting a huge sum to sort out pre-distributed bills that we had agreed to before now.
Daily Sun. Major headline: insecurity, Akpabio fingers opposition. NCAA certifies Akano Ibiam International Airport Enugu. IMF downgrades Nigeria's growth to 4.1%, cites inflation, spiking fertilizer prices, and global risks. 2027, Nigeria will not coronate Kabiyesi in Aso Rock. That's ADC speaking. Unijust student abduction, Igbo youths demand federal government intervention. US-Iran war triggers jet fuel crisis, pushes local airfares to 135,000 naira from 92,000 naira. And finally here, INEC chairman won't get away with illegalities. This is according to article.
I have the escalating tensions from the US-Iran conflict. They say have spiked jet fuel prices and tightened already fragile global aviation supply chains. And the ripple effect is now being felt here in Nigeria, especially, in the Nigeria domestic market, where airlines are buying aviation fuel for 2,557 naira per litre. To remain afloat, they have adjusted fares upward to cope with rising operating costs. So ticket prices have surged from 92,000 to as high as 135,000 naira. So we have prices for most different airlines. The United Nigeria Airlines, they said that their flights now are from Lagos to Abuja, 135,000. Air Peace also have 145,000 from Anambra.
One way,
from Abuja to Anambra, yes. Abuja to Enugu on the same airline is 135. So, they listed the airlines and all the different prices, and you can definitely see that the prices have gone up. They said that airlines buy Jet A1 in Warri Airport at 2,530 naira per litre. Different place in Anambra, 2,529. The lowest, of course, seems to be, if they buy from Lagos, they buy them at 2,500 naira per litre. So as you can see, this is affecting prices. Although what I find a bit funny is that a few weeks ago, we read in the papers, because of this tension, they said Dangote is now even exporting to the United Kingdom. I know for sure because my son and I, we do newspaper review. He does that. And I remember we're reading that, like, one of the gains that we will get, So if we're making money from it and Dangote is can't he sell to them cheaper? I'm just wondering what's happening.
See, that sector, we don't know what's going on.
Honestly,
But I would say it's also a businessman, a private businessman, so he make his
prioritize his profits.
But I was not quite sure of how that's
going on. Any other story?
Yeah, so Enugu is now an international airport. They said they were giving their aerodrome certification for the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. They were giving their certificate on Monday, and that this was done by, they said, the NCAA Director of Aerodrome and Aerospace Standards. He presented this, and he said that he described the development as a major achievement. And he also said that the certification of the Akan Ibiam International Airport is a testament to the collaborative efforts between the regulator and the operator. He said it demonstrates that Nigeria is on track in meeting international aviation safety benchmarks. And he also commended the FAN. He also commended FAN for its professionalism and sustained cooperation throughout the certification process, describing such collaboration as essential to maintaining consistent safety standards across Nigerian airports. It's very good because, you know, the Igbos, they do business a lot. So you can imagine now they have their airport is now an international airport. So you see all these foreign
I'm happy
airlines.
for them. I hope they're able to
I hope
maintain
it
it and sustain it.
It's definitely going to
more
open.
investment
What they need more is an
in the East.
opportunity. Yes.
Because they tend to make a lot of money there and then take it out, or make a lot of money
Because
out
there
there
are
and
no
they don't
ports
take it
there.
there.
They
So
I know they are basically more importers and exporters.
So I'm saying, I hope
so they
that-
need ports more there.
We have plenty airports that have
No,
virtually shut
not
down.
airports.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean seaports.
Yes,
That
that might be a more
That's
important
another one.
investment to make, because airports that do not have, that are not busy, no airline will go there.
Yeah.
Benin Airport has just one flight per day, and sometimes some airlines don't even go to Benin anymore
at all,
because of the level of activities going on there. So it's not to celebrate if we don't have enough
Yeah,
economic
it's
activity.
sustainable.
It's like our Jos airport. One day we have flight, the next day we don't have
There's
flight.
no
There's no
flight.
light
It's activity.
in Jos Airport.
Campaign is going on. Don't take it. It's a low blow. There are many. If we open to the number of airports that don't have lights, we won't deal with the problem.
Yeah, let's go.
APC, ADC, Atiku, everybody is throwing jabs on a political journey. ADC saying that Nigeria will not coronate a Kabiyesi in Aso Rock. I was really curious about what that meant, but it was just a political insult to say that if Nigerians vote for the president again, it would be tantamount to installing a president in the Aso Rock, while Atiku is talking about the fact that INEC, in his own case, his attack was on INEC of the INEC chair, that the INEC chair shouldn't be allowed to get away with what he's done. And I put quotes there. He said, let the federal government know that we fought military to bring democracy into this country, and we're going to fight them to bring democracy and ensure it stays in the country. That, according to him, he feels like the APC is not providing proper democracy, which is something any opposition would say anyway. So it's all politics, and we'll be seeing a lot more of it. I hope Nigerians will shine their eye and be intentional to ensure that we are asking the right question from anyone we're going to be voting for, because what we want is a better country, not better or richer politicians.
Yeah. So, final paper for today, Nigerian Tribune. ADC won't surrender to tyranny. That's David Mark speaking. No country can develop with inefficient tax system. That's our president speaking. Supreme Court orders accelerated hearing in PDP, APC leadership crisis matter. Federal government defense Air Force insists Borno airstrike was a precision operation. I know somebody took that story in the Vanguard, so the person will be taking it. 2027 Ogun Muslims demand governorship slot. And finally, health. News tool test detects 90% of colorectal cancers. It's ready to go.
A coalition of Muslim organizations under the umbrella of SMUG, that's Southwest Muslims for Good Governance, has called for a fair religious representation in political leadership across the Southwest, with particular focus on Ogun State, urging parties to consider a Muslim candidate in the 2027 governorship race. To be honest, I didn't really read much of it, but it says that they're not gathering in anger, not in division, but just with firm conviction, you know, on the principles of equity and democracy. And they feel that, you know, a Muslim needs to be you know, representative at this level. They need to see more of that, especially in Ogun State. I don't agree.
Yeah, because
I don't agree.
we're discussing security problems,
Yes.
economic growth. We're not discussing religion.
We have already divided ourselves across ethnic and tribal lines. It's okay. We get it. We have but we are all the same Nigerians, and this, you know, we are all from Ogun State. Yes, and if you are competent and if you know the job and you can impact to your community positively, please just push those people. It's not about our religion.
Thank you, ladies. That's all we can take on the newspaper reviews. When we come back, move on to today's topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.